Hey.
Oh, appreciate that. So you don't pay rent here? Who does pay rent here?
No one?
Okay, who pays the mortgage here?
My boyfriend.
Your boyfriend.
My boyfriend.
And where's he?
London.
London.
Yes, London. Would you stop repeating me?
All right. Well, what's he do?
He's a curator.
The curator. Sorry. Just seems weird that as a curator, he didn't really have any art on the walls. Like none. I mean, it just seems like they probably got like a extra painting or a sculpture lying around that he could have brought home. Sorry. Is he white?
Does it matter?
Yes and no.
Well, what if I told you he is white and we met in a volunteer program in Bayview? Would that matter?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay. I see you. You're one of those people.
Those people.
Yes, those people that think that Black History Month is in February because it's the shortest month in the year.
It is.
And so we've always been told, just because two people are black doesn't mean they're supposed to be together. Well, I beg to differ. Devarim or Deuteronomy 7:3-4. Never shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give unto his son, nor your daughter shall you take unto your son, for they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yahuwah be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. Devarim or Deuteronomy 7:6. For you are a holy people unto Yahuwah your Elohim. Yahuwah your Elohim has chosen you to be a special people unto himself, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. The nation of Yasharal was chosen above all the families of the earth to be a royal nation of priests, holy unto Yahuwah. They were likened unto a white garment in which Yahuwah wanted to remain pure and undefiled or diluted with any other dye or stains. We know that this happened anyways, as Yasharal is a rebellious nation. Some of our forefathers also committed such acts as taking foreign women, but they serve as an example what not to do, and not as an excuse to commit the same acts. Bimidbar or Numbers 36:6. This is the thing which Yahuwah does command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best. Only to the family of the tribe of their fathers shall they marry. So again, here we have the command to marry only the tribes of our fathers. Despite the confusion, many have been led to believe, if someone is mixed, in the Bible it states that we are called after the pedigree of our fathers. So, in other words, a child is what his father is, despite taking on either parent's features. Now, some will argue, well, that was a long time ago, and it's okay now, but it's not. Joshua 23:11-13. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that you love Yahuwah your Elohim. Else, if you do in any way go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go into them, and they to you. Know for a certainty that Yahuwah your Elohim will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides. and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off the good land which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. Now, this verse speaks about the remnant, or in other words, the descendants of the other nations among us, that if we choose not to take heed to Yahuwah's warning, know for certain that these who remain among us shall be snares, traps, scourges, and thorns in our eyes. As a people, it is not advantageous for us to intermix with other nations, especially when they are conspiring to eliminate us off the face of the earth, and to, in default, regain the birthright. Examples of snares and traps would be true stories of a sister who chose to marry an Edomite man who has her swinging, which means married couples swapping spouses. In the process of being joined to him, she is also joined in idolatry. Another example would be a Gadite brother who is also joined to an Edomite woman who doesn't care to hear that he is an Israelite based on the fact that his wife claims she read the Bible and it's full of nonsense. Her being Catholic, by the way, also, and influencing his ideology hinders him to not care about his own identity. Not to mention the young, beautiful black girl who was kicking it with Confederate flaggers who only ended up being hung in the end. Now, when a woman of our people chooses to have a child by another race, she only builds up the father's race because the child is what the father is, regardless of the features. By Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she had deemed this soft genocide. In other words, death of a race by intermixing. Now, let's briefly break down the system. They brainwash our women through visual displays of movies and media to accept the idea of being a bedwench to white men and oppressors to the point she starts subconsciously desiring them, while having disdain for the men of her own race. While this is happening, they brainwash the men of our nation through similar tactics, leading them to be thrown into jail. When drugs were intentionally introduced to blossoming black communities, it broke up the unity and family structure. The result led to broken homes and men being put in jail. This created a vicious cycle, so when you get out of jail, it's nearly impossible to get a legal job. As a man, you are unable to provide for a family, let alone yourself, and can easily get caught back up selling drugs again until either you're killed or thrown back in jail. This further helps control a black population. While this is going on, they are propagandizing a homosexual agenda. 2 women produce no seed. 2 men produce no seed. Therefore, those of our people who have been entrapped in homosexuality have in essence become sterile. The propagandizing of drugs currently taking place in music causes our youths to become drug addicts. These drugs nowadays have the same makeup or compound of older and harder drugs, but just have a cleaner or more acceptable appearance. They come in the form of pills, lean, or laced in weed, and these prevent our youth from being focused. Not to mention, there are also jobs that require drug testing, so again, now you've made it harder for yourself to land a good job. With the family structure destroyed, the children grow up without father figures. So where does this lead a young man to do? The youth grow up obsessed with drugs and violence. Growing up without a father, violence is then equated with manhood. So from a child, you spend most of your adolescence to adult years looking for that manhood, or how to be a man. And oftentimes, we learn from the streets or the negative influences around us. The young women likewise grow up without father figures and only have their mother's experiences or various men she dealt with, whether negative or positive. This leaves an impression upon her mind, what is acceptable or what is not acceptable. While subconsciously looking for a male father figure, she also equates street guys, gangs, or violent men with manhood. While all this is going on, we now have police helping to kill off the men of our nation, because they understand the male carries the seed and the future of our nation. So now I hope you realize the importance of us continuing our seed with men and women of our nation. Tehillim or Psalms 83, 3-5 is clear. They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. They have said, "Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." Which basically means they are not for us, but largely against us. Lastly, for yourselves, look into something called the King Alfred Plan, which is an international effort to eliminate people of so-called African descent. Now, some will try to write this off or disqualify it, but then search to see if there are concentration camps or FEMA camps all over the United States, along with other countries, just so you can grasp the seriousness of this discussion. If there are no more black or Hebrew men, there are no more black people, and this is genocide. Now, in the latter days, when Mashiach returns, we will no longer live as a mixed nation, but furthermore, let's look at the consequences of those who do not take heed. This is spoken of in future tense. Yeshayahu or Isaiah 13:13-16. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, and the wrath of Yahuwah of hosts, and the days of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chase roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Now let's look at the book of Jubilees. Abraham's last words to Jacob and his descendants. Page 86. Be thou ware, my son Jacob, of taking a wife from any seed of the daughters of Canaan, for all his seed will be destroyed from off the earth, and all the residue thereof, and none springing up from him, will be saved on the day of judgment. It is no secret that Esau married 2 Canaanite women along with the daughter of Ishmael. This is not about skin, but we should not be mixing with any other race besides our own, and especially Edomites. Page 110, verse 11. And Mashah commanded the children of Yasharal and exhort them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, and not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is an abomination before Yahuwah. Now, as for identifying dating outside of our race as a sin, Nehemiah 13:26. And those days also saw I Yahudim that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab, and the children spoke half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Yehudite language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by Elohim, saying, You shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Shalomah or Solomon, king of Yasharal, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his Elohim, and Elohim made him king over all Yasharal. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our Elohim in marrying strange wives? This verse is clear that we are not to marry, date, sleep, procreate with other people outside our race, and also serves as an example to our brothers. You have to stop taking women outside our race. It's a sin. As for Black, Latino, and Native women choosing to sleep with our oppressors and building up his seed, you either consciously or subconsciously help eliminate your own race by doing so. For this, let's look at the parable of the wheat and the tares. Matthew 13:30, but read the full parable for yourself. Let both grow together until the harvest, and at that time of the harvest I will say to the reapers, First gather together the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. We are that wheat. This parable was used because when you look at tares compared to wheats, They look similar but slightly different and can easily be confused. This parable parallels with someone who is being mixed, where a child can take on either feature or look similar to one race or another, but still be of the opposite. Now, to my sisters, there are many good men of the Most High who need beautiful Yasharalite or Israelite women, especially those with full beards. And likewise, brothers, there are many beautiful Israelite sisters that need a handsome good man of the Most High, who can lead them, teach them, as well as respect them for the jewels that they are. Brothers and sisters, we have to stop making excuses and enabling reasoning of our own heart why it's okay to be joined to someone of another race. Mashali, or Proverbs 3:5-7. Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart, and lean not on to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahuwah, and depart from evil. All praise and glory belongs to Yahuwah, and to Yahushua HaMashiach, and the Holy Spirit, and to you and yours. Shabbat Shalom.
I helped make him a lot of money. Am I bitter? No. I'm bitter about people like Lester, who have a third of my ingenuity, a tenth of my tenacity, and not even a fraction of my style, making it because they're a white boy. And I'm pissed at women like you, who flock to them, because in his blue eyes, you find escape from the problems that come along with my brownness. I detest it. I detest it. And I detest them. Especially liberals like Lester, who walk around with a plantation mentality and drag. Ooh, brother man's got issues. Yeah, but brother man has to swallow every time he hails a cab, every time he sees a police car, every time he sees a Kim creaming in her pants over his Porsche or his MG. See, brother man is who you're running from.